What's up YouTube, and welcome to a new video. Now almost every day I get asked the question if I know a car which just bottomed and will go up in value. But let me start by saying that buying a car purely because you think that it's a good investment is most likely a bad idea. The chance that it doesn't happen is quite large, and in that case you're left with a piece of metal you don't care about. Therefore, I think that your first and foremost criteria to buy a car should be if you like it. If a value increase materializes, it's just a nice advantage. But which car should you pick then? Well, the internet is full of cars which might go up in value. But today we will talk about the V8 Vantage. Haggerty, a company which specializes in classic car insurance, included the V8 Vantage on its bull market list of 2021. And this means that they expect a value increase. Now in this video I will show you what actually happened to V8 Vantage values in the last 15 months. At the end of 2019 I already made a depreciation analysis for the V8 Vantage. And that analysis revealed that the depreciation for the newer cars was still quite high, but also that the older ones were very close to bottoming. Hence, it might be the older cars which will go up in value, or perhaps already went up in value. But before we have a look at the price changes, let's first investigate today's market so that we know what's what. This graph shows on the horizontal axis the model year and on the vertical axis the price in US dollars. You can also see that the market is split by model type. We have the S, the GT, the GTS, the base model and the N420. Now let me run you through some market statistics. The median price for a V8 Vantage is $55,000. But as you can see from the graph, this doesn't tell much. There is a very large variation in prices, and even within each model type. The base model is the cheapest with $48,000, and this market is also the largest with 44 cars. Then we have the N420 and S models, which go for a premium of around $15,000 compared to the base model. The GTs are another $10,000 more expensive, and at the top of the market we have the GTS, which tends to cost around $96,700. If we split the market by transmission type, then we can also see that the manual is quite rare. There are only 16 cars for sale, and you can find them mostly in the older cars. So we are a bit more familiar with the market now, so let's see how much prices changed in the last 15 months. And we will first look at this for the full market and then investigate the price change for each model type. The price distribution over here shows now in orange the prices for December 2019 and in blue the ones for March 2021. And you can see that the distribution for today's market lays a bit more to the right of the one 15 months ago. And that means that prices went up. The median price increased from $51,700 to $55,000. And this is an increase of 6.4%. Yet this increase is not statistically confirmed. And that means that it can be the result of chance. If we have a look then at the mileage distribution, then we can see the same development. The median mileage increased only slightly. 1 year ago this was 20,600 and now it is 24,800. Now if you own a V8 Vantage, there's no reason to be disappointed just yet. The fact that there is no significant movement on an aggregate level doesn't mean that things aren't moving under the surface. Yet, unfortunately, for the N400, N420 and GTS market there are not enough cars for sale to say something meaningful about those price developments. There is for example only one N420 for sale and 3 GTSs. We will therefore focus on the base market, the S market and the GT market. And we start with the largest one, the base market. Yet, before we continue, if you like this video, please support the channel by smashing that like button. Also remember that you can request an analysis. Simply comment the name of the car for which you would like to see a video down below in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification button so you get actually notified when your requested analysis goes live. Alright, let's look at the base market. If we look at this market from a model year perspective, then we can first see that supply shrunk a lot. Last year there were 88 cars for sale and this year only 44. Also, from the depreciation curves we can see that the blue one lays slightly above the orange one. Prices did then also go up from $44,000 to $48,000. However, also this price increase is not statistically confirmed. Nevertheless, we can see that especially for the older cars, the bottom of the market increased. Let's zoom in a bit. If we look then for example at model year 2007, then we can see that cars used to be priced in the low 30s, but are now sitting in the high 30s or low 40s. But as you can see from the relatively flat depreciation curve, model year is of limited importance for the price. So let's investigate the market for the base models also from a mileage perspective. you can see that we have now the mileage on the horizontal axis instead of the model year. You can also see that the two curves for the depreciation per 1,000 miles look quite different. And the reason for this is that 1 year ago there were more cars for sale with a mileage under 10,000 miles. And this of course increases the slope of the curve. Moreover, we can see that most cars have between 10 and 40,000 miles. Hence, comparing the numbers for those cars is probably a good idea. Therefore, to figure out the price development for certain mileage segments, let's have a look at the price development over time for different mileage buckets. We have now the date on the horizontal axis, the price on the vertical axis, and you can also see that each line represents a mileage bucket. If we look then at the ones between 10 and 40,000 miles, so the orange, green and red one, then we can see that overall prices indeed went up. For the orange bucket we can even see an increase of $10,000. Yet for the green bucket we can see a flat development. Alright. So what does all of this mean for the base market? Well, one thing seems to be evident. The market bottomed. And usually this means that the chance of a price increase also goes up. Yet, when looking at the V8 Vantage market, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, there's the difference between the manual and automatic cars. And personally, I would try to find a manual one. Second, there's the difference between the 4.3 liter and 4.7 liter engine. Actually, let's have a look at that market split now. Here you can see on the left the 4.7 liter base market and on the right the 4.3 liter base market. And as you can see in both graphs, the blue line lays above the orange one. But the one for the 4.3 liter is a bit messy. It is then also only the 4.7 liter market where we can find a statistically significant price increase. Prices only went up with $1,500, but we can clearly see that this is carried across the full market. Moreover, we can see that the shape of the depreciation curve remained the same. The depreciation per 1,000 miles didn't change much and sits at $470 per 1,000 miles driven, or 0.7%. Now of course, I also checked the market split by transmission type, but neither the automatics or the manuals displayed a significant price increase. But what then about the other market segments? The S and the GT cars. Let's have a look. You are looking now at the S and GT market from a mileage perspective. And as you can see, it's rather messy. Both markets show no significant price increase and a much higher depreciation per 1,000 miles than the base market. After all, these cars are a lot newer. However, you can see for the cars around 20,000 miles that there is a big price gap. Current cars with that mileage go for around $80,000, while last year they were in the high 60s. But we can't put too much weight on that. There are simply not enough data points. And with that, let's take a step back and discuss what all we just saw. So, with all of the different market segments, the V8 Vantage market is a bit messy. Yet, it is quite clear from the data that the older cars already bottomed and might already went up in price. On a market level, the price increase is not statistically significant. But we saw that the price increase in the 4.7 liter base market was statistically confirmed. And this can of course signal that prices slowly start to creep up. A price increase which is not statistically confirmed doesn't mean that it is not valid per definition. It simply means that there is a reasonable chance that the price increase is due to chance. However, when markets start to increase, it is often very difficult to say if prices are actually moving up or not. In the first stage of price increases, movements can be very small and can only happen in certain market segments. In any case, in the previous video I shared with you that the older cars are close to a bottom. And this is indeed confirmed by this analysis. Moreover, when you look at this nice infographic from Haggerty, you can see that insurance policy quote growth for the Aston Martin Vantage has been consistently positive on a year-over-year basis. Moreover, you can see that compared to the 911 market, it didn't drop. Also, it shows that the trend in values is gradually up, while the value trend for Porsches is, as they say, perhaps temporarily down. And this is in line with what we saw in this analysis. The market for older cars seems to be bottomed, and we can see the first signs of price increases. Now, something which Haggerty has but which I don't have is the percentage of insurance quotes per generation. And this reveals that Generation X and millennials make up half of the V8 Vantage quotes. After all, these are the groups growing up with the V8 Vantage and lusting after one. I would be labeled as a millennial, and I had a scale model of the V8 Vantage in my room. Now, since it are especially the millennials, which are now entering an age where wealth accumulation starts, demand might grow for the V8 Vantage. And with an increase in demand and a decrease in supply, like we saw in this analysis, it is likely that prices will go up. But this is of course my own opinion based on this analysis. Now before we close this video, I need to mention one final thing. Even though that the purchase price for a V8 Vantage is relatively low, the maintenance costs are definitely not low. I would say they are rather high. So keep that in mind if you are in the market for one. And with that we arrive at the end of this video. Now if you enjoyed this video, please support the channel by smashing that like button. Also, if you like this type of data-driven analysis, I recommend that you head over to my channel. Over there you will find many more analyses, such as the ones for the Porsche 911 market, other Aston Martins, McLarens and various Corvettes. As always, a huge thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next week for a new analysis.